So we've talked about drinks. We have a few different levels of categories. Now, how do you describe it? The difference between luxury, concierge, and butler. How do you describe that?
And so in terms of the rooms, this goes back to what I said earlier about what's important to you. Do you want to open up the curtains in the morning and see that beautiful Caribbean sea? Or is the room somewhere where you sleep? You're not bothered
Yep.
back to a point about the facilities in the room or the view out of the window. We have up to 28 room categories in any one single resort. How I break that down and say, look, there's three key categories. There's a luxury level, there's a club level, and there's a butler category as well.
Yep.
Location, obviously, the higher the category you go, in theory, you should be getting to that, open the curtains and you're right on the beach type scenario. And therefore, then the luxury, the leading category, wouldn't necessarily have that prime view, could be a garden view or pool view room. So I think it's important with your planning to, if the room is important to you or the facilities or the size of room, is to just again list down what your priorities are, what your wants and your needs are. Some of our resorts are big resorts. So needless to say, if you're at the back of the resort, there might be a bit of a walk to get to the beach. Yeah. Fine for most people. Again, you're on holiday. Do you want to be in one of maybe the taller buildings, somewhere like Antigua? We've got the Mediterranean village. So the views, if you're on some of the higher floors, are absolutely stunning. But then contrast that with some of the rooms that are in the grounds where it's just a single story. It's predominantly garden view across all categories. Luxury level rooms. So what's standard in every single room? It's Sandals super king size bed. So we don't do any twin beds. We don't do singles. It's a super king size bed. They are absolutely massive. You're going to get a full bar in your room. So it's not a mini bar. Mini bars you have to pay for. It's a full complimentary bar, which is restocked daily. So the minimum would be local beer. You're going to get a bottle of Mondavi wine. You're going to get all your soft drinks, your waters, your juices, all complimentary and restocked every day. So that's in every category. Once you get to club level, you also get spirits in addition to that as well. So if you don't drink spirits, you're going to be happy with probably the luxury level room.
Yeah.
The view out the window, a lot of the leading categories will have a French balcony as opposed to a full sort of terrace if you're on the ground floor, or actually a balcony itself. So the view out the window, the French window might be something you need to look at. You're going to have a seating area in every single room category. You're going to have your TV. You're going to have, obviously your safe in your room. Air conditioning, needless to say, is across the board. You'll be glad to hear.
Yeah.
And then once you then get to club level, so club level have what we call a club lounge. So when you arrive in resort, you're taken to the club lounge. You do a check-in with the Club Sandals staff. They then walk you to your room, show you the facilities of your room. Here's your safe. Here's how the AC works. Would you like to do an orientation tour? I can see it's your first time in resort. Not a problem. Settle in. Come and find us later. We can do that later. Have a nice stay. So that's the extent of the check-in with club level. But the lounge is accessible 24/7. So it's key card entry. Anyone who is a club or butler category can use the club lounge. So there'll be daily news sheets, there'll be iPads, there'll be Kindles. We're amassing libraries in a lot of the club lounges now because people leave the books behind after they've read them on holiday. Yeah. Absolutely fine. There'll be a posh coffee machine. There'll be some spirits and beer in there. So you can just go in any time of the day, grab a daily news sheet, catch up on the woes of the world with a gin and tonic and maybe a muffin or a piece of banana bread. But there's staff in there as well during key times to help with any queries. Okay. Yeah. So that's the element of the club. In the room itself, everything that I've mentioned is standard, plus your spirits, plus room service as well. Okay. So if room service is important to you, going back to the dine-in, then you really need to be looking at a club level room.
Okay.
Once you then get to the best of the best, which is can't point to it, but there it is there, one of these. Yeah. This is the over the water suites, which is an example of our top category butler suite. So we have different levels of butler category rooms. Again, but it could be a penthouse suite. It could be a gardens private suite with a plunge pool. And we have these amazing rooms called Rondeval suites, which are round rooms. They generally come with a plunge pool, possibly an outside jacuzzi bath as well. So they're absolutely amazing and a variety of resort. But the big thing is you get your own private butler, personal butler as well. So when your clients check in at resort, they're immediately met by their butler. They're whisked down to their suite. They do an in-suite check-in. We give all our butler guests a mobile phone. So we market the butler experience pretty much 24/7. dining, any issues or whatever, you just dial your phone and they'll take care of it. They'll offer to unpack, repack at the end of your holiday. They'll make all your dinner reservations for you. They'll even walk you down to dinner if you want to. So there's an awful lot. Again, if you want to learn a bit more about the butler experience, Jason is your man. So all of that considered, what is important to you in terms of the room? What are your priorities? Do you want that in-room dining option, in which case club or above you need to look at? Or if it's just like where I sleep, the rest of the time I'm enjoying resort, I'm out enjoying the dine-in, then have no hesitation. One of the luxury level rooms would be perfect for you.
Awesome. So with the butler service again, is this something you can get like your clothes pressed and stuff like that? Are they going to take care of those types of details for you as well?
Things like that would be classed as laundry, so there would be a charge for that. But yes, it's definitely available across the board. I mentioned at the start about our no tipping policy. There are two exceptions to the no tipping rule, one of them being the butlers. So if you are a butler guest, it is customary to tip, and I would advise just once at the end of your holiday. The other exception is the spa therapists, as most of our resorts are spa resorts. So if you're having a treatment, it's customary to tip as well.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. So we mentioned briefly your stay at one, play at more. Can you explain what that means to us?
Yeah, where you have multiple resorts either on that island or within that particular resort area. You stay, obviously you book into one resort, but you can use all the facilities of the neighbouring resorts. So where that works is St Lucia, 3 resorts, and we actually provide a courtesy bus that links all resorts throughout the day as well, because of location-wise, they're relatively close to each other. It works in Barbados, where the resorts are right next door to each other, and there's actually a walkway between the 2 resorts. So that's a stay at one, play at 2.
Yeah.
In Montego Bay at Jamaica, we have Sandals Montego Bay, and then 5 minutes down the road, Sandals Royal Caribbean. And again, there's a courtesy bus that runs throughout the day, linking those 2 resorts. In the Ocho Rios area of Jamaica, you've got 3 Sandals. You've got Royal Plantation, you've got Sandals Duns River, and you've got Sandals Ochi. So there is a stay at one, play at 3, but the exchange privileges depend on where you're staying as to which one you can go to. So a bit too difficult to explain, but you can explain it to the customers. It's just to do with the size of resort and things like that. So that's the other one. Antigua, we've only got 1 resort. St Vincent, we've only got 1 resort. Grenada, only the 1 resort as well. So the stay at one, play at more doesn't apply there. So those are the key ones.
Okay, excellent.
If you had a customer in Jamaica, for example, 7 Sandals resorts, if they were staying in the Grill and they wanted to maybe rent a car, or they want to have a bit of a change of scene and drive up the north coast, if they wanted to then under their own steam go to one of the other resorts, not a problem, they can do that.
Okay, all right. And they don't need a day pass today to be able to get in there because they're already booked into the resort.
Yeah, they just need to flag it with the resort that they're staying with, and they'll arrange it. It's fine.
Awesome. So let's move on to our activities and our sports. We've got quite a lot to talk about there because there's so much to go on with. And one of my favourite passions is diving. Now, I got my PADI license when I was on my honeymoon many years ago. And it's one of the things that I'm looking forward to when I get out there is to go diving and make use of it.
Okay.
So tell us about the diving kind of first of all, because I think it's a massive standout feature.
It is, yeah. Are your logbooks up to date?
From when I've been diving, yes.
Okay, good. So that's the first question that the staff are going to ask anyone who says I'm PADI now or BSAT qualified.
Yeah.
So for yourself, qualified, logbooks up to date, you're going to get 2 complimentary dives a day throughout your holiday. Obviously, you can't dive within a certain time of your return flight.
Yeah.
But in theory, 2 dives per day. So you, as a scuba diver that wants to take advantage of that, you've suddenly found a huge amount of value in our all-inclusive offering.
Yeah.
I'm a novice diver. I've tried it, but I'm not qualified. So for me and for anyone else who's in the same boat as me, no pun intended, we would pay $150 currently to do what we call a resort course. It normally takes about no more than 3 hours. You watch a video, you'll go to either the specific dive pool if resort has one, if not the main pool area, just learn to use put the equipment on, how everything works, obviously go underwater and be able to breathe. Once you've completed that, you're not suddenly a PADI qualified diver. What it means is that we will give you 1 dive, guaranteed minimum, at some point during your stay, which of course will then be out in the ocean. If clients then want to think, well, this is amazing, you can pay to do additional dives as well. And most resorts have all the equipment we provide is complimentary. So your air, your BCD, all your snorkel flippers, all that sort of thing, is all complimentary. Part of the fins, they are. They're
I
not.
was just,
Yeah, they're
I was
not
going through
flippers
my
at
head.
all.
I was thinking,
I was thinking of a dolphin. I think they're not what you put on your
yeah,
feet. Yeah, so your fins, it's all complimentary. The boats that we have at our resorts, they're called Newton Dive Master boats. So it's like the Rolls Royce of the diving world, if you like. So safety, obviously, is paramount. All of our water sports centres are regularly assessed by PADI. Obviously, safety, as I say, is most important. If guests want to do their full qualification, their PADI qualification, it sounds like you're an expert, which is fantastic, but part of it is theory. Part of
yeah,
it is the open water dives. And we would advise that people do the theory with online with PADI before you go out to Sandals or beaches. And then we will then do the open water assessments, of which obviously there would be a charge, but it's certainly a lot cheaper than what it would be to do it in the UK.
yeah. And we did. It took the first week of our honeymoon doing our diving qual,
Okay.
and it was non-stop from the morning until you go to bed, revising, ready for the next day for the theory, because there's a large portion of theory which is
Yes.
really important. And I wouldn't call myself an expert or anything, but yeah, but it took up the first week. We barely slept. It was so much going on, and we didn't have time for anything else. So the fact that you can break that theory down in advance, do it in the UK, learn from home in your own time,
Yeah.
and then go out there and go and do the fun bit in the places you want to go to, for me, is just a perfect combination of how do you dive qual.
Yeah, it's a big market for us. And I think when people understand the value, just to do a one off dive in the Caribbean, you ain't going to get any change out of 120, 130 US dollars.
Yeah,
So to get that for like yourself as an experienced diver twice a day, that's your holiday cost, isn't it?
massively. Yeah,
So
yeah, massive save.
there is a big thing, and you're right. Yeah, I think probably diving in the Caribbean waters is slightly different to diving in the UK rivers or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah, or
absolutely.
some of our shorelines. Ones we know just from experience, Bahamas, most definitely. You've got Grenada, where you've got the natural reefs and I think shipwreck dives and things like that. The west coast of Jamaica, particularly around in the Grill area, is probably the best area for Jamaica for scuba diving. One thing with us to look out for if diving is going to be a big part of the holiday experience, just have a look at that. Does the boat actually go from resort? Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
because somewhere like St. Lucia, for example, because of the layout of the resorts, we actually take customers to Castries from two of the resorts, and then the dive boat is moored in Castries, and you go from there. So it's not very far, but it's obviously eating again into your holiday. So like what be a 2 hour dive becomes a 3 or 4 hour dive with the transfers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a factor to just bear in mind with the planning.
Yeah. Okay. And there's been a lot of, you did say you're regularly inspected by PADI, but across some other parts of the world, there's been a few issues on dive boats and those types of things, mainly kind of liverboards. And speaking to some dive friends of mine, the first thing they're asking is, we say, oh, Sandals, fantastic offer for divers. And the first thing they're asking about is about the quality of diving, the safety of diving. But the Sandals staff, they're all Sandals staff, aren't they? They're all PADI certified. So
Yeah,
they're all within your control, aren't they? Within Sandals control. Is that
there are
right?
Sandals employees, but
Yeah.
they're all trained and accredited to whatever standard they need to be in terms of the PADI qualification.
Yeah.
So you've obviously got the regulars that go out on the boats with customers, and then you've got the people that run the dive shop, which also might double up as like the water sports centre as well, depending on the resort.
Yeah, yeah, it's good to know, because you'll get contractors in different places and things. You might go to a local dive shop to do something which is then out of the control of the holiday.
Yeah,
So I think it's a good positive that all of that is within Sandals, especially knowing that Sandals is such a serious brand as well. It's very serious about quality, service, luxury, all those things.
yeah.
So it's good to know that they're going to be taken care of as well.
And you also you fill out the 2 page sort of form the first time you go diving, and to actually some of the other water sports also need that as well. Just confirming that you're medically fit and all that sort of stuff. So anything which needs to be flagged, we would expect the customer to flag it with us.
Yeah, but it's also about being honest, isn't it? It's about the diver being honest with
Yeah,
themselves, being honest with the resort, and just say what your experience level is,
yeah,
and they will accommodate you. Whatever your level is, they will accommodate you. So you just need to be honest with that, and don't push yourself if you haven't had many dives. And this is where your logbook comes into it again, because they want to check it, because
yeah,
it's a really important part of it. But be honest with yourself and be honest about what you're comfortable with, what you're not so comfortable with. And if you want to try new things, as long as you're honest about that, and they can help and make sure that it's going to be done safely.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So other parts of the sports, we've mentioned water sports. There's quite a big variety of kind of water sports. Can you talk us through some of those apart from diving?
Yes, so the selling point again with the all-inclusive plus is the fact that we include the motorized water sports. So different resorts, partly because of what they are able to operate on that particular stretch of beach or whatever. It does sometimes vary from resort to resort, island to island. The website, again, you can actually look at water sports and land sports and see exactly what they offer. Motorized water sports, we don't do jet skis and we don't do parasailing at any of our resorts. For as long as I've worked at Sandals, we haven't. Popular one being water skiing. We do the rubber rings, we
Yeah.
do the knee boarding. Those probably are the more popular, shall we say, motorized water sports. But with the tuition included, so say for example you want to try windsurfing, you've never done it before, just make your way down to the water sports centre. They'll give you your tuition, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it might need. Off you go. You might come back 5 minutes later and think, don't get this at all, never doing that again, but at least I've tried it. Not a problem. Have more tuition later on in the day or tomorrow if you want to, or try something different. And again, the little boats that we do, which has escaped me, Hobie Cats, that's it, thank you. Same thing, you'd need an element of tuition before we let you loose on with one of those. So that's something you could try tomorrow if you want to. So it's unlimited, or the variety. They've all got snorkels, so you can just go and grab a snorkel and snorkel from the beach, or walk down a bit further down the stretch of beach if you want to. So yeah, that's something else you can do, nice and simple as well.
Kayaking, standard paddleboard, and those types of things. They do those as well, don't they?
Kayaking, single and double kayak. Yeah, paddleboarding is huge now. All resorts offer that, as far as I'm aware. Trying to think of anything else we've missed.
There's so much to do, isn't it? There's so many different options to do it. And if you're the more younger people, again, we spoke about it earlier, they're drinking a lot less. They want to get out and see and do more. And they can just dip in and out whenever they want to throughout the daytime. Go back, relax again, do it in between excursions. You want to head out and explore a bit more. So yeah, I think it's a massive selling point for Sandals and Beaches.
Yeah.
What are the kind of the land sports away from golf for the moment? What else can we do on land?
I think that this also merges into what else is going on during the day, because a lot of the day activities or a lot of things going on during the day away from maybe the swim up pool bars or the dining restaurants or whatever are focused around both land and water sports. We have what we call playmakers in our resorts, so that's like our entertainments team. So during the team, their job is to entertain clients. So that could be anything from organising a water volleyball match, water polo match in the main pool, and then obviously getting everyone to come up and partake in that. It could be bingo around the pool or in any of the other public places. So so the entertainments team are fantastic at organising activities which you can partake in if you want to, or just watch everyone else and laugh at everyone else instead. We have tennis courts in resorts now. Fastest growing sport at the moment in North America, so I'm led to believe, is something called pickleball.
Pickleball, okay.
Which is a cross between tennis and paddle. So it's a smaller court, if you like, but that is massive now in the States. And as a result, we're actually making, in a number of resorts, the tennis courts pickleball courts.
Okay.
Such is the demand. So South Coast, for example, we actually have 12 pickleball courts and 1 tennis court.
Oh, wow.
So if any pickleball players are out there or listening, you're going to have a great time at Sandals. So what we'll also have is like a pickleball and or a tennis pro in resort. So their job during the day is, again, organising their own, maybe like a free-for-all new to pickleball, turn up. I'll mix the teams up, give a bit of tuition, all free, all part of the all-inclusive. And then there might be a sort of mini tournament at 2:00 for your experienced pickleball players or tennis players or whatever. So regardless of where you look, there's always something going on in resort, mostly around the land activities. Aside of that, pool tables, table tennis. We have a bowling alley, a 10-pin bowling alley in Sandals Royal Barbados. It's the only resort that has that, so that's complimentary as well. Croquet lawns in some resorts as well. So yeah, there's a lot. Shuffleboard, basketball courts. Yeah, but check just to make sure that there's something that floats your boat.
Yeah, we've also got some really good kind of all the agents have access to kind of fact sheets, resort fact sheets, which gives us so much information, even down to when restaurants open, those types of things. So there's lots of detail that agents can help you with. Which,
Which is good,
Tell us about how the golf works, because I think this is another one of those really big selling points. golf holidays are so big. There's lots of people want to go away with friends, families, groups, and a real benefit.
Yeah, we get people like with the diving that will go out and that is going to be the focus of their holiday. They're going to be playing golf. They're going to be on the course every day or every other day. Fantastic. So the all-inclusive difference is the fact that we include unlimited complimentary green fees, the cost to play the course. So 2 islands, firstly, where you need to look at: Jamaica, particularly the Ocho Rios area resorts, because that's where the golf course is, the Golf and Country Club. And then our second golf course is on St. Lucia, and it's up in the north. It's quite close to Grand St. Lucian, but we actually include complimentary round trip transfers from all 3 resorts. So St. Lucia, and then again, going back to Jamaica, if you're in the 3 Ocho Rios area resorts, complimentary transfers as well as the green fees.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we tend to find that the golfers that where it's not going to be the big part of their holiday will probably on average on a week's holiday play twice.
Yeah.
That's usually how it works. If you're traveling maybe in a couple and one person doesn't play golf, then not a problem. You stay in resort, you can walk around with your better half and caddy or advise on the shots or whatever, that's fine. Or if you want to stay in resort, we've already talked about the number of fantastic things that you can be doing back in resort. But if you are just there for a single golfer, we'll pair you up. We'll put you in a group of 4 or just a 2, depending on how busy the golf course is. And you can go off and hopefully make a new golfing friend as well. So that's something that golf will arrange. You can pre-book tee times now prior to travel or do it in resort as well. So that's good.
So are there any costs at all to do the golfing? And if you're covering the green fees, are there any costs that guys need to be aware of?
Yeah, there's potential costs with a caddy, which are that they're employed by the golf club. So although it's called Sandals Golf and Country Club, for example, they're employees of the golf club. So actually, if you're going to play golf, that's another one where it's customary to tip at the end of the round. So your caddies, golf buggies, if you want them, would have a cost. And obviously, if you don't want to take your clubs with you, you can hire clubs in resorts as well. So there potentially is cost, but the main crux is your green fees.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can't remember, probably about 4 or 5 years ago when I was in Jamaica, it was for non-Sandals residents to play the golf course. It was about $100 for 18 holes of golf. So in theory, you're getting $100 worth of value every time you go to the golf course.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have to have a caddy? Is that kind of compulsory, or is it a choice? Or?
It's compulsory on one of the 2 resorts, I believe. And then a golf cart is between 2 people, because obviously it's 2 people between a cart anyway.
Yeah.
I would say it probably, if you have a golf cart, you rent clubs, people will generally, I think, take their own shoes and have a caddy. It'd probably be about $80 to $100.